The U.S. Embassy is a diplomatic mission of the United States government located in a foreign country. The embassy is typically headed by an ambassador, who serves as the official representative of the United States to the host country. The primary role of an embassy is to promote and protect U.S. interests abroad, including political, economic, and cultural interests. Embassies also provide consular services, including visa processing and assistance to American citizens traveling abroad. The embassy building is usually a highly secure facility, with extensive security measures to protect U.S. diplomatic personnel and classified information. U.S. embassies can be located in a standalone building or within a larger compound that also includes housing for embassy staff and other facilities. The design of U.S. embassies is often distinctive and represents American architecture and culture. U.S. embassies have been targeted for terrorist attacks and other forms of violence, making security a key concern for U.S. diplomats and staff. Facts about U.S. visas. A U.S. visa is a document that allows a foreign national to enter the United States for a specific purpose, such as tourism, study, work, or immigration. There are different types of visas, including non-immigrant visas for temporary stays and immigrant visas for permanent residency. The process for obtaining a U.S. visa typically involves an application, an interview, and a background check. The U.S. Department of State and the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services (USCIS) are responsible for processing visa applications. The cost of a U.S. visa can vary depending on the type of visa and the individual's circumstances. The length of time a foreign national can stay in the U.S. with a visa can also vary depending on the type of visa and the individual's circumstances. Some foreign nationals are eligible to apply for a U.S. visa through the Visa Waiver Program, which allows citizens of participating countries to travel to the U.S. without a visa for stays of 90 days or less. U.S. visa policy and requirements can change frequently, and it is important for individuals to stay informed about the latest information and requirements. Visas category of U.S. Embassy. The U.S. Embassy offers several categories of visas, including B1 Business Visitor Visa, for individuals traveling to the U.S. for business purposes, such as attending meetings or conferences. B2 Tourist Visa, for individuals traveling to the U.S. for tourism, medical treatment, or visits with friends and family. F1 Student Visa, for individuals traveling to the U.S. to attend a full-time academic program at an accredited institution. H1B Specialty Occupation Visa, for individuals with specialized knowledge and skills who will be employed in the U.S. in a professional capacity. J1 Exchange Visitor Visa, for individuals participating in exchange programs, such as au pairs, summer work travel, or internships. K1 Fiancé Visa, for individuals engaged to a U.S. citizen and traveling to the U.S. to get married. O1 Extraordinary Ability Visa, for individuals with extraordinary ability in the arts, sciences, education, business, or athletics. L1 Intracompany Transferee Visa, for employees of an international company who are being transferred to the U.S. to work for a related company. These are just a few of the many visa categories offered by the U.S. Embassy. The specific requirements and eligibility criteria for each visa category can vary, and it is important to consult the U.S. Embassy for the latest information. What document required U.S. Embassy for interview? The documents required for a U.S. visa interview at the U.S. Embassy vary depending on the type of visa you are applying for. However, some common documents that may be required for a U.S. visa interview include passport, a valid passport that will be valid for at least 6 months beyond the date of your planned departure from the U.S. Non-immigrant visa application form DS-160, a completed online form, which is the standard application form for non-immigrant visas. Photograph, a recent, color passport-style photograph meeting the requirements specified by the U.S. Department of State. Supporting documents. Depending on the type of visa you are applying for, you may need to provide additional documents such as a letter of invitation, financial documents, academic transcripts, or proof of employment. Application fee payment. Proof of payment of the non-immigrant visa application fee, which is required to process your application. It is important to note that the specific requirements for a U.S. visa interview can vary depending on the type of visa and the individual's circumstances. It is advisable to consult the U.S. Embassy for the most up-to-date information on the required documents for a U.S. visa interview. Duration of U.S. visas. The duration of a U.S. visa varies depending on the type of visa and the individual's circumstances. Here are some common types of U.S. visas and their typical durations. B1 Business Visitor Visa. The duration of stay for a B1 visa is typically up to 6 months, but can be extended in some cases. B2 Tourist Visa. The duration of stay for a B2 visa is typically up to 6 months, but can be extended in some cases. F1 Student Visa. The duration of stay for an F1 visa is typically the length of the academic program plus a grace period of up to 60 days. H-1B Specialty Occupation Visa. The initial duration of stay for an H-1B visa is up to 3 years, and it can be extended for a maximum of 6 years. J-1 Exchange Visitor Visa. The duration of stay for a J-1 visa varies depending on the specific exchange program, but is typically 1 to 2 years. K-1 Fiancé visa. The duration of stay for a K-1 visa is typically 90 days, after which the foreign national must either marry the U.S. citizen sponsor or depart the U.S. O-1 Extraordinary Ability Visa. The initial duration of stay for an O-1 visa is up to 3 years, and it can be extended in 1-year increments. L-1 Intracompany Transferee Visa. The initial duration of stay for an L-1 visa is up to 3 years, and it can be extended for a maximum of 7 years for L-1A visas and 5 years for L-1B visas. It is important to note that the specific duration of a U.S. visa can vary depending on the individual's circumstances and the type of visa, and it is advisable to consult the U.S. Embassy for the most up-to-date information. Immigration process at airport. The immigration process at a U.S. airport for different nationals may vary based on the country of origin, visa type, and other individual factors. In general, the following steps are involved in the immigration process at a U.S. airport. Arrival. Upon arrival at the U.S. airport, passengers go through Customs and Border Protection (CBP) inspection, where their identity and travel documents are verified. Interview. Passengers may be interviewed by a CBP officer to determine their eligibility to enter the U.S. During the interview, the officer may ask questions about the passenger's travel plans, background, and other relevant information. Biometric processing. Depending on the country of origin and the visa type, passengers may be required to undergo biometric processing, such as fingerprinting or facial recognition. Admissibility determination. Based on the information gathered during the interview and biometric processing, the CBP officer will make an admissibility determination, determining whether the passenger is eligible to enter the U.S. Admission. If the passenger is found admissible, they will be granted admission to the U.S. If the passenger is found inadmissible, they may be placed into removal proceedings or returned to their country of origin. Citizen visa of U.S. application. The application process for a U.S. citizen visa, also known as an immigrant visa, involves several steps and requires the submission of various documents and forms. The following is a general overview of the U.S. citizen visa application process. Determine eligibility. The first step in the process is to determine if you are eligible for a U.S. citizen visa. This involves evaluating your family relationships, work skills, and other factors. File a petition. If you are eligible, the next step is to have a qualifying relative, such as a spouse or parent, file a petition on your behalf with the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services (USCIS). Submit supporting documents. Once the petition is approved, you will need to submit additional forms and supporting documents, such as a medical examination report, police certificates, and evidence of financial support. Attend a visa interview. After the USCIS receives your application and supporting documents, you will be scheduled for a visa interview at a U.S. embassy or consulate. During the interview, a consular officer will ask you questions about your background and your qualifications for a U.S. citizen visa. Receive a decision. After the visa interview, the consular officer will review your case and make a decision on your visa application. If your application is approved, you will receive a visa and instructions on how to proceed with your immigration to the U.S. In terms of facilities, U.S. embassies and consulates provide a range of services to assist with the U.S. citizen visa application process, including information on visa requirements and application procedures, appointment scheduling, and document processing. In addition, many U.S. embassies and consulates offer various forms of support, such as assistance with transportation and accommodation, for individuals who are traveling for a visa interview. Business visas U.S. The process for obtaining a business visa for the United States involves several steps and requires the submission of various forms and documents. The following is a general overview of the U.S. business visa application process. Determine eligibility. The first step in the process is to determine if you are eligible for a U.S. business visa. This involves evaluating your purpose of travel, work experience, and other factors. Select the appropriate visa category. Depending on the nature of your business activities in the U.S., you will need to select the appropriate visa category, such as a B-1 visa for business visitors or an E-visa for treaty traders and investors. Obtain a petition from your U.S. employer. If you are traveling to the U.S. for work, your U.S. employer will need to obtain a petition from the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services (USCIS) on your behalf. Submit supporting documents. Once you have obtained the appropriate visa category and petition, you will need to submit additional forms and supporting documents, such as a police certificate, medical examination report, and evidence of financial support. Attend a visa interview. After the U.S. Embassy or consulate receives your application and supporting documents, you will be scheduled for a visa interview. During the interview, a consular officer will ask you questions about your background and your qualifications for a U.S. business visa. Receive a decision. After the visa interview, the consular officer will review your case and make a decision on your visa application. If your application is approved, you will receive a visa and instructions on how to proceed with your travel to the U.S. It is important to note that the specific requirements and procedures involved in the U.S. business visa application process can vary depending on the individual's circumstances and the nature of their business activities, and it is advisable to consult the U.S. Department of State or a U.S. immigration lawyer for the most up-to-date information. The specific bank documents required to do business in the United States will vary depending on the nature of your business and your financial needs. However, the following is a list of common bank documents that may be required. Proof of funds. You may need to provide proof of sufficient funds to support your business activities in the U.S., such as bank statements or a letter of credit from your home country bank. Tax Identification Number (TIN). In order to open a bank account in the U.S., you will typically need to obtain a TIN from the Internal Revenue Service (IRS) and provide this information to the bank. Business registration documents. You may need to provide the bank with proof of your business registration and incorporation, such as articles of incorporation or a business license. Personal identification. You may be required to provide the bank with personal identification, such as a passport or driver's license, in order to open a bank account. Business plan. Some banks may request a detailed business plan outlining your business activities, goals, and financial projections in the U.S. It is important to note that the specific requirements for opening a bank account in the U.S. can vary from bank to bank, and it is advisable to consult with the bank directly for the most up-to-date information. Subscribe to our channel for more updates.